So maybe I'll just jump on quick over to this slow-mo thing. Perhaps it's not the best sounding thing in the game, which is a funny thing for me to then show off as my post-analysis for the game. But this got dropped in about a week before release, and perhaps for the visual side of things, slowing down time is not really that big of a deal. For audio, it is, because we need a lot of samples to make audio sound consistent and sound good. So basically, the designer and the programmer came to me and were like, yo, we've added in this slow-mo perk, and now things go slower when you drink, when you access the perk. I was like, okay, well, can you tell me exactly how much slower they go? And the programmer said to me, okay, they're now 70% as fast as they were. Okay, so thought about that for a little bit. Luckily with the music, we have this little friend here, playback speed, which is a ratio value. So I could just set this, as you can see, when we are nearly there, this value here is 0.7. And so suddenly the music is playing 0.7. Can I... Oh, let me play an individual one. I need to do it in the Soundcaster. So music is playing. I'm going to trigger slow-mo. It's going to drop down there. It doesn't actually stay down in the Soundcaster, just because sometimes it doesn't quite have the depth of implementation that the game does. So the trick to this was not doing the music, it was doing everything else. So they wanted to get the VO, we wanted to get the SFX, everything to drop down in pitch. But how much is 70% of a non-fixed pitch? So all of those things have different pitches. What is 70% of that? I managed to figure out, well, basically, I'll run over very quickly. I opened Reaper, I opened a 1 second file. I set Reaper to 100 BPM tempo. I dropped the BPM to 70, and suddenly the 1 second file had stretched out to something like 1.4 something seconds. I also have a pitch shift tool, which enables you to set a new duration of a file as a way to shift the pitch. So I took a 1 second file, set a new duration of 1.4 whatever, and that told me that to create the new duration time, a pitch shift of minus 6.8 semitones was required. So I was able to drop the pitch of the master by 6.8 semitones, 6.18 semitones. Obviously I dropped a lot of samples at that point. The overall audio quality went down because we were not planning on that from the start. But you know what? It worked. It was dirty. But it was effective, and it's probably, because it's not exactly subtle, it's probably the most commented about audio thing that I did on this game. So I mean, I'll just play it to you quickly. What can I
haven't had my 2% raise in 7 years.
Okay, hopefully I get the pitch back up now with the slow-mo stop. So you can see it was fine. And actually in the game, when it's such a busy game, that the audio fidelity, though it annoyed me a little bit, none of the players noticed. They just really bought into the slow-mo and really enjoyed some of the incidental things that happen when you do an attack that you've done 50 times before and then suddenly it's really slow. So that was cool. That was a nice thing to add in. Uh, what else should I show? Let me show quickly just a couple of the weapon things. The weapons in this game were definitely the most fun thing to sound design for. I will show a quick video if I can. It was still, like, the game only released 3 days ago, so I have to be a little bit careful about showing too much footage. But I think I can show a couple of the weapons, because they're unlocked, so I think they want the community to unlock them rather than the sound designer just to show them off in a random video. Not that anyone's going to watch this, but still. So maybe I'll just, like, probably the merger was the one. Well, that's the one I've got set up here. It's not so great to show in Soundcaster, but it was a really interesting challenge to implement. And what I wanted to go after, so it's kind of like a 70s spark gun. That's what the designer said to me. And one of the core mechanic with this weapon, how it worked, is you needed to mash left mouse button as fast as you could, well, at least to a certain level, to get the right kind of DPS, damage per second, out of this weapon to make it worthwhile. So rather than just holding down the button as you basically do with all the other ones, this one you needed to mash. They wanted to add a gameplay element to it. So I wanted to have sound informing the player of how fast they're clicking, how fast they need to click. So I basically, what we set up was a firing mechanism that every time you clicked the fire button, the pitch of the loop would go up. So let me just check. The merger is 0. So you can hear it's just this flat loop. Now every time you fire, that's going to go up. Okay, let me stop that now because that's going to get painful. No, just stop. Alright, so that was cool, but what you needed was some kind of thing to fight against, otherwise you just click and it would go all the way up. So I got the programmer to set up a counter that was firing merger music down. So I think it's double the increment of your click is being reduced every few frames. I can't remember exactly what it was. So as you spin the merger up, the game is spinning it back down. And so you need to click fast enough to outbid that timer to get the pitch up. And it took a little bit of tuning, but once I got it tuned, it does actually give you enough information to feel where the speed that you need to click is to get a solid amount of damage per second out of the weapon, which is very cool. What else should I show you quickly? So you can see that there was a lot of weapons. These are the rage weapons. These are the non-rage weapons. It was very fun stuff. The holy keyboard is another one that I got, like, very direct directions for, where the art director it's like a beam laser that he wanted to really shut down the soundscape of the game and kind of dominate it. And so I had some nice library stuff of some monks doing some chanting. So we kind of managed to get some kind of thing with these arm ends and get it to crush the sound a little bit. So I'll see if I can show it quickly. It's most observable when music is playing too.
Shut the hell up!
So then when you fire this guy, again, that seemed to be quite popular with people, something that people noticed and enjoyed. That's probably about all I should take of your time. If there are any specific questions from community, people wondering how that works, I'm pretty into showing stuff like that. So I'll pop up some links now if you want to get in touch, ask for any specifics about Office Freakout, how this game worked, or have any questions about this video. Hit me up. I enjoy doing this kind of stuff. Thanks for taking the time, guys. Have a nice day.